Hi, good morning everyone. Let's get started with our next topic, which is on Visual Administrator in SAP. So let's connect to the system and I'll show you what this particular terminology is and what this tool is all about. Okay, so let's start. Let me show you how to start this particular tool. So let me click on computer, then let's go to our location where we have SAP installed. Go to user, SAP, the seed name, and under that look for JC01. JC01 is the folder in NetWeaver 7.01 and below, and from 7.31 onwards, 7.3 onwards, in fact it is J01. Okay, so let me click on J2E folder. Under that you can look for admin. Okay, so from 7.3 onwards this visual admin has been taken out and it is replaced by NWA, that is NetWeaver administrator tool. So let me click on the admin interface right now. Okay, under the admin interface here you can look for the Go. Okay, this Go, if you just right click, run as administrator, and it will start the J2E's visual administrator. Here you can see this is the J2E engine visual administrator. Okay, now you get a screen where it is asking for connect to SAP J2E engine. Okay, so if you just click on connect, it will ask for the password. Okay, so before that I just wanted to show you guys, in case if you want to create a new connection, okay, you can just type some name. Say this is the name that you will see for connection. Say for example I want to connect as pp1 name. Okay, then I can look up using message server. Host name, you can give the host name. Okay, then the port number in this case is 5. After that it is your system number. After that it is 04. Okay, and then just save this. Okay, you will see this particular entry created. Okay, there will be one default entry will always be there. So, and this is the entry that you have created depending on different users you have, so they can have different set of connections. Okay, so once we select any of them and connect, here you can see that this is connecting as the username as J2E_admin, and password, we need to give the password. Okay, let me supply the password. Okay, once you give the password, it will try to connect to the system. Okay, and once it is connected, what you are seeing here on the left side, you have one dispatcher is there, one server 0 is there, and if you have multiple servers you will see the other servers as well, depending on how many servers you have in your system. Okay, so this is basically, you just saw that what is the binary, how you can scroll to the visual administration location and start it using go.bat file, and once you are there it will ask for the connection. You can create a new connection. If you have multiple users, they can use their own connections, and once they give the username and password, you will see the connection which is showing a dispatcher, a server 0 and server 1 and other servers if they are there. So it all depends on how many servers you have in your environment. Okay, so let's see. So the next thing is that I wanted to show you guys is, let's say you can go to this particular tab called connect tab. You have only logout login. If you go to the tools window, you have properties tab, and you can export this as well. This particular entire configuration can be exported out. Okay, so that is on the these particular high level screens. Now let's connect into this particular system. Let's go to the dispatcher. Okay, on the dispatcher, if you just click on the dispatcher, it will show you the version of dispatcher, the kernel version, the ID of this particular dispatcher, the host IP, and the other information. Okay, so the next thing what we will do is I'll just show you that what is there in server 0. If you click on server 0, it will give you this particular ID which is critical. Okay, so that is on the dispatcher side. Let me show you the rest of the information. So basically the key things in this particular thing what you need to take note is the different ports that is used. So let's go to the global configuration. Say for example, here you can see the dispatcher is there, you have the server is there. Okay, so here you can see the kernel related services, and these are the different services which is there. Okay, so that is on the global configuration. So the key protocols basically they are the HTTP protocol, you have P4 protocol, you have telnet protocol, you have SDM protocol. So let's start with HTTP. So HTTP is basically, let me write it down here. Okay, so the key things that we are discussing is, first thing is about the HTTP protocol. Okay, so HTTP protocol in general it uses a port called phi, then is the system number, and then 00. So this is the port on which the HTTP connection listens. Next thing that I was referring to is the P4 port. P4 port, as the name indicates, it has number ending in 4. So it is phi, then this is your system number, and this is 04. Next key port in this is telnet port. Telnet port basically is phi, then you have the system number, and after that it is 08. Okay, next thing is about the SDM port. Okay, in SDM you will find phi, then system number, and this is 18. Okay, so that is the port on which the SDM listens. So we have started the visual admin. Okay, so we have gone to the global server configuration, and if we expand this particular server folder, okay, so let's go to this particular server folder. Here you can see it has different services, kernel, interfaces, libraries. Okay, so let's go to the key services that we wanted to see. Okay, select the server instance, fine. Then what we'll do is we'll go to the click on this particular thing called kernel, and here you will see the different parameters that can be tuned for this particular kernel. Okay, here you can see things like cache manager. Okay, so the next thing is about the different property sheet that is there. Say let's say cluster manager. Okay, in cluster manager you can see some of the key things, that is element dot name. Okay, so this is the name of the server. Element dot type. Okay, element dot join port, which is telling that on which port it is listening. Okay, so then these are the things which can be tuned over here. Okay, the next key thing is about the thread manager. So let me show you about the thread manager. Thread manager, it is there for both the dispatcher and the server. So this is basically important from the performance point of view. Okay, here you can see these are the different parameters which can be tuned using a thread manager. Okay, so in thread manager you can see things like maximum thread count, you can see things like initial thread count. Okay, so here let's go to the next item, which is HTTP provider in this. So for HTTP provider, here you can see it's a global configuration. Under global configuration you can see dispatcher, and under dispatcher is the HTTP provider. Okay, so in HTTP provider you can maintain the different parameters. Okay, so here these are the different parameter that is there. Say for example you have the port, which is one key thing here. Okay, then you have the different session timeout parameters is there. Okay, then trace activity, whether you are enabling or disabling the trace for the dispatcher. So that is about the HTTP provider. Okay, so the next thing is, let's go to the next activity here in this, which is security provider. Okay, here you can see this is the security provider. Okay, here you can define different things like we need to select the runtime for this one. Okay, security provider, what we need to do is we can go to the services tab, and under services tab is we have the security provider. So dispatcher, there is nothing defined. Let's go to the same thing on the server side. If we go to the services and under that look for security provider. Okay, so this is security provider. It's in alphabetical order, so it's pretty straightforward. Okay, so under that there are two things. One is the runtime activity, and so let's see the runtime activities for this. Okay, so these are the key values that is there: Unicode log or crypto admin, who is the administrator for the crypto. Okay, so another thing that can be done here is the user management. So let me go to the crypto tab, give me a second. Let's go to the cluster. Under cluster, let's go to the services, and under services we will see the SSL security provider. Okay, so it's in alphabetical order. Just select for the security provider. Okay, here is the security provider. Okay, in this particular tab, so we saw the security provider under global configuration, okay, under dispatcher, under server, and under cluster configuration. So in these three different categories we looked for the security provider. Okay, so under runtime we see these activities as well. So these are the different security mechanisms that is available. Okay, here you can see there is a user management is there, policy configuration. Okay, so user management, how we can manage the users. If suppose we want to search a particular user, we can search it from here. Okay, then we can do a manage the security roles, policy configurations. Okay, security roles are there, we can manage these roles. Okay, so this is about the security configuration. Okay, so that is on the security provider. Okay, the next activity that I will be talking about the portal runtime. Okay, so let's go to the global configuration, and under global configuration let's look for server instance, fine, and under that let's look for the services. Okay, we are in services. Okay, under that let's look for com.sap.portal.prt. okay, here you can see com.portal.sap.prt.sapg2e. okay, so this basically is the portal deployment portal content directory, that is the PCD. okay, PCD is very critical for portals, so that's where this is plays a major role. okay, you can change your timeout and pool size values in this particular tab. okay, so that is about the portal runtime parameters. okay, next thing is let's go to something called component build service. okay, so component build service, this thing you will find under services. we can look for component build service. so this is not here in this one, but you will find this in a development in a DI, basically where you have the development infrastructure created. so if you have NWDI, you will find that component. okay, that is on the component build service. okay, next thing is about the configuration adapter. okay, so let's go to the configuration adapter, which is below this. okay, configuration adapter, here you can define the different adapters. okay, so in this particular case let's go to the cluster and let's look for the same thing, which is configuration adapter. okay, so in configuration adapter, here you can see under runtime you can see the different offline values. here you can see the configurations can be opened, properties is there, additional information. okay, but in the additional information you can find different protocols like P4 and all. okay, the key thing is on the runtime, what are the runtime values for this. okay, it can be configured here. okay, so here we can see things like HTTP host is there. you can see this is the default host. okay, you can see things like CTC is there. okay, the next thing is on the display cache content. okay, cache content is pretty important because a lot of images are there, and if we don't cache them, it comes directly from the system, which makes it slower. so that is one reason why we look for the cached information. okay, so the next activity in this is the connector, that is connector container. okay, so let's look for the connector container. okay, this is below, this is the connector container. okay, so this gives the entire runtime information that is connected to the server. okay, so that is about the connector container. then the next thing is connector factory in. okay, here we saw the connector container. all right. okay, next thing we can see is the deploy tab over here. so this deploy tab shows which are the applications deployed on the server, and what you can do here is you can select and deploy the application, or you can select and start the deployment as well. okay, so that is about the deploy part. next thing is about the JCO, that is Java connectors. so let me take you to the JCO. Okay, here you can see the JCO RFC provider. Okay, so this is about the JCO RFC provider. Okay, here there are different other tabs are there. So under JCO, what you can do is you can create the JCO programs over here. Okay, so that is about the JCO. So in JCO as well you can do key storage. So let's go to the key storage part. Okay, so let me scroll down. Okay, so under global configuration, server instance services, and under that is our JCO RFC provider. Okay, key storage, this is the key storage that is there. Okay, so this is empty, but we can use it to create keys. Okay, so that is on the key storage. Same thing we can find it under cluster as well. Okay, JCO provider and the key storage over here. So in this particular key storage tab, let's go to the key storage. Here you will see the different keys that is there. Okay, you can create a new keys as well. You can create a logon pair, you can load it from the file. So different, this is the place from where you can generate the CSR. Okay, so generation of CSR happens from here. Okay, then yeah, I think this is pretty much. And another admin activity that is mainly associated with is sometimes the account gets locked. Okay, so in that particular case what you need to do is you can just go to the security provider user management tab and change the account there itself. So let me show you how it happens. So let's go to the security provider that we just saw some time back. Okay, so let's go to the security provider. Okay, under security provider, let's go to the user management tab. Okay, under user management tab you can just search for the user. Okay, so it depends on what type of authentication you are using. If you are using a basic authentication, then you can use that particular process. Okay, then here there are different components are there. We are using LDAP based authentication, so you won't find the locking mechanism defined here, but this is one screen where you can come and unlock the users. Okay, so